Today, we're going to be taking a look at the hand wraps Cobalt Skulls and all the best pairings that exist for them right now in CS2 and overall helping to build a complete loadout around them. We did Amphibious last week and there was lots of good blue combinations, and it's going to be a similar vibe here, I think. Because obviously, we're going to have some Cobalt Skulls and I'm going to go for them in minimal wear here, which is $880. You do have to note that you could drop the field test and save about $400, but I like going minimal wear on these videos just to get them as clean as possible. And you can see the knife of my choice is a paracord Doppler Phase 3. Now, I have to say, any Phase 3 Doppler would do the job here. I went for paracord because it's $420. It's kind of like a nice medium price range. And of course, you can go higher or lower if you wish. And just to note then, agent-wise, I went for Commander Frank Wet Socks, who's like $51. If you don't like this sleeve style, just go for Rixall for like, I think it's between like $10 and $12, and you'll get sleeveless. But if you do want sleeves, these are the best. Then there's two other like obvious knife choices. The first one would be a Phase 4 knife. Now I went for the flip knife here. It's $609. So you're talking like a $200 step up compared to the paracord. Some people prefer Phase 4 with Cobalts. Personally, I think the Phase 3 looks better. So you guys just let me know in the comments down below, which one do you prefer, the Phase 3 or the Phase 4? Or maybe you prefer the third combination, which is a Sapphire. This is a Bayonet Sapphire I've got here, $2,840. It's quite a lot for what I'm going to say is very limited visual change, but when you hold it in like this angle, I think it's fair to say the colors match up really nicely. So this is the most expensive combination. As I say, I think my sort of middle ground budget one is a Phase 3 and just get it on a knife of your choice. Now, on the USP side of things, we're going to go straight into this. It's a blueprint in minimal wear, which comes in just under the $9 mark. Blueprint isn't always my favorite, but it's kind of hard to argue that it's not the best pairing with the Cobalt Skulls. Now, I have been on the P2000 agenda again recently, so if you did want to go down that side, it's a little bit more expensive. It's $14.40, but you can get the Fire Elemental in minimal wear, which looks pretty banging. P250 is going to be a Valance. There's a few blue P250 options. None of them are perfect one for one, so I feel like the Valance is the best overall pick here. For the Desert Eagle, I feel like the Cobalt Disruption is just such an obvious pick here for most blue loadouts, but also it works quite nicely here with these gloves. It comes in just under that $80 mark in factory new. We get a bit of fun with the dual Berettas. We have the Hydro Strike here. It's got two different shades of blue and that orange accent color. In this case, the deeper shade of blue is actually quite close to the actual blue wrap color of the gloves, which is kind of nice. I just went cheap and cheerful for the 5.7, to be honest. I went for the Blue Sky. It's 41 cent minimal wear. There's a kind of an issue, at least from what I was looking at and what I felt. I didn't think any other like 5.7s really stood out nicely with these gloves. It's also low-key bugging me that there's like a tiny little mark on these gloves, even in minimal wear. But it is what it is. Next up, we have the MP9, which I think the Cobalt Paisley in factory new for $5.82. Is a banging pick. Yes, this is purple and blue. CS2 Skins actually details it as being a mostly blue, and I think the shades are so close to what you have in the gloves, it makes this a great pickup. Now, I did price for the Cobalt Paisley, but if you want to go for the upgrade, you have the Pandora's Box. It is going to run you $184, but with the skulls, little sort of ghosts on the Pandora box, and then mixed blue colors, it's also pretty solid. I then went towards cheap and cheerful for the MP7. I think going for a Cirrus here, 23 cent. Minimal wear, it's going to do the job for you. And then this next one honestly sums up my issue that I have with the exact blue shades and pairings with these gloves. I actually go for the Run on the XM because I think complementary color wise it's actually pretty nice with the blue. The blue and the pink goes quite nicely, at least on the key bits of artwork. And honestly, I just wasn't vibing with any of the other blue XMs for these. Don't worry though, bang a pick when it comes to the Mag 7 because you can pick up the Justice. Now, I have went minimal wear this time, which is just under that $5 mark. You can save about 50% here if you go field test it. And I think I might have some surprises on my M4A 1S. So maybe not the first one, but the first one I'm going to go for a blue Phosphor. Normally, I love going Icarus Fell, but I think in this case, it's fair to say the blue Phosphor lines up a bit better with things overall. It is $770 for factory new. Where I think the surprise is going to come in is the Imminent Danger. $700 for standard fuel tested. I actually think the blue on the handle is pretty nice to that of the gloves. I don't know what it is. It takes something for me. It's $700 plus. It's something a bit different and a skin that I rarely suggest. And then whenever I showcased the Justice, you probably knew where I was going for the M4A for the Emperor. I love how the shades of blue from the glove into where it grips it on the gun It works so well. My only gripe still with the Emperor is like the shading seems a little bit weird in the main section compared to the rest of it, but it's still an incredible piece of artwork for $44. Like, just absolutely crazy good value for money on this. Now, this next issue is going to happen in my upcoming blue loadout guide. I'm going to sort of detail that now. The op situation for blue loadouts is dreadful. Valve, please give us like a couple more blue ops that are actually good. I'm going to end up suggesting the Sun and Leo here for $35 factoring now. This has a bit of a blue base on it, but overall for me, I always said to CSGO, mix and match between purple and blue. In CS2, it's definitely more purple, but it pairs well enough that I'm going to let it slide as being the best option. Finally, we go nice and easy here. It's going to be the Yeti Camo, which is $4.35. Again, one where the blues aren't one-to-one, but it's still a very nice skin, so just happy to have it here. And the AUG, honestly, lack of options, and I do not want to spend big on it at all, because barely anyone uses it, so I'm just going to say Steel Sentinel, 13 cent. This one's more if you're building out a loadout and you need an AUG skin, go for it. In regards to the best pairings with the Cobalt Skulls, obviously it's not really all that. Now, I do quickly just want to detail the difference if you went for Ricksaw, because I think immediately, in my personal opinion, sleeveless on CT works much better than having the sleeves, especially when it comes to like the M4. I think your Imminent Danger pairing, even your Blue Foster pairing, would look much nicer without the sleeves. So if you want to save like almost $40 on Agent, just go for Ricksaw. And then speaking of agents, on the T side, I want to go for Bloody Silent Darl. This is the agent I have been using myself, just to be very clear on that. But he is $33.60, one of the cheapest Darl agents you can get. And I think in this case with the blue, you actually want to have silver rather than gold and just lock in on that. The Glock is such a banging option in my opinion. It's going to be the Ocean Towboat. You're going to spend about $1.40 to get it in factory new, so it looks nice and clean. When this first came out, I was uncertain on it, but having used it in the Amphibious loadout and now, it's actually a pretty solid blue Glock. I just gotta be honest. I do want to slip in another new blue skin. It's the Blue Blast. It's 10 cent minimal wear. Now, I know what you're thinking. The blues on this aren't a 1-for-1 match, and that is very true. However, I think the bottom base color is close enough. Obviously, it's got that bright blue on the top, but there's no other really. I said the Avalanche, maybe, but again, it has the same issues. It's a no-brainer for the Mac 10, though. You get to go Lapis Gator here, 64 cent minimal wear, and honestly, the blues align so nicely. Although this is something I would have loved to have that blue all over the skin. For this sort of combination and lining up, I'm happy enough. And I feel like the Wraith Grief might be one of my most featured skins since this update came out, because I've used it in a lot of loadouts, but honestly, for $4.15, it is a very, very nice skin, and I think here the blues line up pretty damn well. On the Gale, it's going to have to be the Stone Cold. $3.33 for this in minimal wear. It is one of those where the blues aren't 1-for-1 pairing, but let's be real, man, it's not an absolute fashion show. We're just locking in for a good weapon skin here that is at least the same color. Now, I'm uncertain if I have a little bit of bias just shining really strong here, but the AK Inheritance with the Cobalt Skulls, but in Battle Scarred is my preference. I really was just struggling for like a good AK skin outside of the Inheritance that worked for it. Mind you, I don't want to be throwing it away. So I think $65 to go Battle Scarred and get some of those little chips coming through that just kind of match the hand wrap vibe, in my opinion, looks pretty good. Now, the alternative blue AK is technically the best pairing with Cobalt Skulls. It's a blue laminate. It's $14.40 in minimal wear. If you want the blue to be much closer, this is what you have to go for. The issue I have with it is with all the laminate skins, I just dislike that it's basically a default AK with this tiny bit of color change. It doesn't look perfect and it costs over $10. It's not really good value for money, but if you want to go and hunt for one and have a bit of overpay to the extent where you're paying $70 to $100 for it, you might be able to get some old stickers on it and just sort of vibe out. To give an example on the more crazy overpays, this is the Forex Cloud9 DreamHack Hollows. It's currently listed for about £300, which is close to $405 on CS Flow, and if that's your style, by all means, enjoy it. We have two items to end it off. First up is the Scout. A base is $50 minimal wear. It's just going to do the job. Again, one of those ones where the perfect blue pairings were a little bit tough. And then finally, I don't know if you're using an SG, but if you do and you want the Forces skin, it's going to have to be the Anodized Navy, which is $1.70 factory new. Done, dusted, you're just kind of chilling. So, the total loadout cost for the best combos with the Cobalt Skulls, if you went for the Paracord Knife, PS3 Doppler, you're looking at about $2,416. Now, to get minimal wear gloves, which obviously, I said that can cut you down $400, so you could hit the 2K mark if you wanted to, it's not that bad, especially when you consider that like your rifle skins are the Emperor, one of the best Emperor A4s, it's still relatively cheap. You then got Blue Phosphor in there, and you've got like Inheritance. It's pretty solid across the board. As I say, you can jump things up about $200, end up with a total cost of $2,605 by going for the Flip Knife Phase 4. again, my personal opinion, I think the Phase 3 looks better than the Phase 4 with these gloves. And then, if you went for that Bayonet Sapphire, which I think actually is the 1-for-1 best color pairing here, but obviously people have a mixed relationship with Sapphires in CS2, the total cost would be $4,836 plus, because the knife was a little bit of iffy price. So there you go, that is a full loadout based around the Cobalt Skulls for its best pairings that I can get, with 3 different knife options at different budgets for you. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Please hit the like button if you do, and please leave a comment down below if there's anything you'd like to see changed or any gloves you want to see in the future. Outside of that, I want to say a big thank you to the YouTube members that are continuing to support the channel. You guys are growing and it is greatly appreciated, and for every new member, you're guaranteed to skip the queue for your own custom loadout building video. So make sure you check that out with the join button down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.